What is going on, internet? Dan Moyer here, Crown of the Abyss. I'm taking you on a little tour of my 6 Ibanez guitars now that my collection is sort of complete. I don't have any non-Ibanez's finally. It's been a long time coming. First up is my RG IB6 28-inch scale length that I currently have in drop G. Very nice having a 6-string down-tuned guitar that I get to borrow all my 6-string shapes that I'm familiar with. This thing I think has an EMG 81 and a 60 in it, and it's got a pretty sick kill switch. Love this thing. I traded it for a LTD Stephen Carpenter 608B. I wanted an 8-string, and I wanted to have it in like drop E. And I just thought it was too many strings at the time. I now have another 8-string that you're going to see here in a second. I thought that it was like too much to handle, and I guess I wasn't familiar enough with the fretboard at the time, but now I've gotten more comfortable with my 8-string for sure. Next up is a Ibanez Xiphos iron label, 7-string. It's got a 25.5-inch scale length, which I thought would be short for a 7-string in drop A, but it feels really good. The tremolo is really nice on it. It has DiMarzio deactivator pickups, which I think sound pretty sick. Pain in the butt tuning this thing when you first get it going, but once the new strings have set and they're all stretched, it stays in tune pretty much every time I pick it up. I almost forgot to mention, I traded a Fender, a Mexican Telecaster, and a souped up modded Epiphone Les Paul. And I liked both of the guitars quite a bit, but I wasn't playing any metal on them, and I want to make metal, so I was able to trade those 2 guitars straight up for this thing. Next up is my TOD 10N, I think is what it's called. Doesn't say it anywhere. This thing is pretty sick. I got to use this on like a really epic sounding intro for a song that has yet to come out. Very nice having a classical sounding thing I can plug in without it being too loud here in the apartment. I could definitely polish these guitars. They definitely deserve it. Just gonna give you a little bit of a closer look here on the fretboard, because it is pretty sick. I'm sure if you've existed on the internet at all, you've seen this guitar around. I had to wait 8 months for it, I think, at Long & McQuaid. Next up is my RG8. I was going to drop like $2,000 on a new 8-string guitar that had better hardware and pickups and all that, but I didn't want to risk ordering a guitar not liking how it felt and spending that much money on it. And I knew that I loved how this thing felt, and I just wanted new pickups. So I ended up putting in these white Fishman Fluence Tosina Bossis. Well, I didn't do it, I brought it to my tech. I definitely use this guitar the most when I'm making Crown of the Abyss music. It's got 2 coil taps, which definitely help me get my thumping tone. This is an Ibanez RG. I'm not sure what number it is. I don't know if it's a 550 or what. It's from the year 2000, and it was made in the Fujigen factory, which is the esteemed Japanese factory that all the nice Ibanez's are coming out of. The craftsmanship was freaking awesome. For a 24-year-old guitar, this thing plays super duper nice. I've got it in drop C. I got my buddy to install a set of Fishman Fluences that match the finish. Pretty stoked about that. And since I did that, I have absolutely loved this thing. It's not tuned too low, so I'm not really using it on a lot of Crown of the Abyss stuff. I originally had this thing in standard when I was taking lessons with Dan Sugarman from Ice 9 Kills. He taught me a bunch about how the fretboard works, which has thankfully made my 8-string a lot easier to play. And this bass guitar is the reason I'm making the video. Before this, I had a Squier Classic Vibe 5-string bass. I tried recording with it a bunch, and I ended up just liking bass libraries from Submission Audio quite a bit more. I wanted my Squier to work because I didn't want to spend $1,500 on a new bass. But I walked into Long & McQuaid, I saw this thing sitting on the used rack for $850, and I decided I needed to get it that day. The bass player for Lorna Shore, he plays Ibanez basses. It definitely made me want to check out these basses a little bit more. I plugged it in and I tried it against a couple other basses, and I really liked how the clank of this sounded. I was definitely thinking about changing the strings so that I could do this in drop E. So it would be E, B, E, A, D, G, but I would have to get such a crazy setup done and have the nut filed so differently to accommodate like a 170 gauge. I'm just gonna see if I can use my whammy drop tune pedal to get me there instead. I saw Andrew Baina doing like a comparison. I honestly couldn't tell the difference between the drop tuned bass that was in drop A versus his actual Dingwall that's in drop E. I'm excited to get off the bass library train and start recording some real bass and doing bass playthroughs, because that'll be a lot more fun. Thanks for checking out my little tour. I don't know when I'm going to put this out, so just know that we recently put out a song called Fourth Kind that's all about some crazy alien invasion that's pretty brutal. We also have a stupid deathcore cover of Master Puppets. So yeah, go check out the link in our bio and go listen to that, or just go straight to Spotify, whatever the hell you want. And let me know in the comments what you think of. Let me know a lot of things. Tell me if you've got an Ibanez guitar that you're digging, or maybe you've had a bad experience with Ibanez and you want to vent to me about it. I'm kind of all ears for that too. And let me know what you think of the new tunes. Peace out.